What's up? Happy Tuesday. Tip Tuesday. Let me get myself live on Instagram. A little later in the day than normal for me. Make sure I'm live. I am live. Let's see if anybody just tunes on. Cami, if you guys are watching, can you just make sure that you just say hi so that I know you guys can hear me and that I'm not just a face without a voice? Get fit by Alicia. Get fit. I love that. Can you guys hear me okay? And if you're watching the replay, just hold on tight, hang tight. We got some splaining to do today. I feel like I'm aging myself because only millennials and older would know what I'm thinking of when I say that. Okay, you can hear me because Cami says hello. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about gut stuff today. I was sparked to talk to you guys about this because I had a pretty in-depth conversation with my clients on Thursday. Alicia, let me just be honest with you. I wish I was feeling better. Every day I wake up hoping to be feeling better. I literally just before this episode was on the phone with somebody trying to troubleshoot some things. In fact, improved motions. You are somebody that I was told to reach out to. So I might actually be reaching out to you because I don't know what the hell is going on with my body. And if it's structural, maybe you can help me. I don't know. Anyways, this is not about me. Today is about helping you guys out. But what actually got me talking or wanting to talk about this topic was everything that I have been through over the last 6 weeks. And honestly, how many of you are likely dealing with some gut symptoms that maybe you're just like, it's not that big of a deal, and just kind of live like knowing that it's okay, but really not optimal. And your gut being off can be a sign that other things are not right. In fact, that's what triggered me to end up in the hospital. I wasn't feeling bad. It was my stomach. That was the trigger that brought me to the hospital, which has now turned into 6 weeks of me figuring out that there's something a little bit different going on in my body that has nothing to do with the gut. The gut was just the symptom. So it's really important for you guys to pay attention to your gut, especially this is not just if you have body comp goals, but it does matter for body comp goals because if your body's not absorbing nutrients right, well, if your gut has symptoms, you might not be absorbing nutrients right. You're not going to see the body composition changes that you're looking for because your body's not processing nutrients effectively. But the gut can be also impacting other things, like having poor gut function can be a sign of nerve issues. Having a bad back can cause gut symptoms. Having something going on with your reproductive system can cause gut symptoms. And your gut can impact other things. Even your neurological system, your brain and your nervous system is related to the gut. We're going to talk about some things that you guys are probably ignoring and normalizing that you need to pay more attention to. And then if you guys are looking for more specifics on you, I didn't want to make this too educational. I would gladly share the client Zoom that I did on Thursday, where I kind of broke down a lot of the different symptoms, a lot of the different strategies for breaking free of those things. You can shoot me a DM and I will send you the replay to that where I go over like if you have bloating, this and that. And I'll probably touch on it a little bit, but I honestly want to keep today very chill. I am not feeling great. And I know that y'all know how it feels to just kind of be getting by. That's me today. So let's just get the ball rolling. Let me go into my notes really quick so I can get started. Okay. So a lot of times you don't realize how your gut is actually connected more so to your frustrations with your body than you realize. So like bloating, fatigue, cravings, inflammation, scale fluctuations, maybe even the inability to recover from your workouts and the feeling like your body just isn't responding. A lot of times, all of these things are very much linked to what is going on with your gut. But women specifically are so disconnected from their body. In fact, the gut-brain connection is something that a lot of y'all don't even realize. The whole your gut instinct or listen to your gut, there is truth to that. There's a lot of truth to be said about what's going on in your gut and how it's showing up in other areas of your life and how other areas of your life are impacting your gut. But you have become very conditioned to normalize things like constipation or maybe having some like acid reflux or maybe having daily bloating. Maybe whenever you eat certain foods, you get bloated all the time. Maybe you are someone that's relying on caffeine because you feel like you don't have any energy. Maybe you're feeling really full, but also have a lot of cravings at the same time. These are all signs that your gut is not functioning right, along with maybe you feel like you have to constantly eliminate foods or certain foods trigger you without understanding why your digestive system is so sensitive to those things. So this is where you can actually learn how to not always battle your body, but actually work with your body. If right now it feels like everything you are eating is triggering your gut, that is a sign that there are some things going on. And maybe you have just normalized up. It is what it is. We can do things about it. But the thing about it is, gut symptoms are usually not just about the food. In fact, 9 times out of 10, the food is not the problem. It's why I hate how so many people out there are like, just cut out these foods and these foods are toxic and this is bad and just do this and just do that. All of that stuff is to treat the symptoms. Yes, you will feel better when you're removing the trigger. But why is your gut so sensitive to those things? By removing the trigger, you're not removing the problem. And if the problem is still there, it might not show up in the gut, but it will end up surfacing in other areas of your body. And it likely is already impacting other areas of your body. The gut is just the symptom. Okay. So it's not really about the food. It's understanding what's influencing your body's ability to digest and utilize food. So the big one is stress and your nervous system. Okay. And this is where a lot of women talk about how when they stop CrossFit, they were no longer inflamed, their guts, better, all of that stuff. That's because their nervous system was likely on high alert. They were probably doing too much CrossFit on top of having too much stress in their life, and were probably always running on empty. And maybe when they took that stressor away, moved a little bit gentler, they obviously weren't having all that inflammation. Okay. But second to that is not eating enough or chronic dieting. Both of these things do have an impact on your gut motility and your body's ability to process nutrients, because your body's going to stop producing as many enzymes and acids. Overtraining is a big one. Overtraining is a big one that impacts your gut. It's why athletes have to be really specific about what kind of carbohydrates they're adding in, because too many carbohydrates that are hard to digest can make it harder for athletes to actually break down and absorb those nutrients. Poor sleep is a big one. Eating too fast is a big one. So I'm like that. I was a person who, when I'm eating, I'm like, I got to get it in because I got to get back to work. I'm a person that doesn't like to prioritize time to sit down and eat. I'd rather be busy doing other things in my life, but eating too fast can impact your gut. Lack of meal structure. So even the way you're pairing your nutrients, like, again, don't go down the rabbit hole of like, I have to have X, Y, Z, but it's knowing that like you should be having complete meals, having some fiber, having some fats. That's going to help with nutrient absorption, slowing things down a little bit. Your body also absorbs nutrients better when they're paired together. So like vitamin D and fish oil, right? So omega-3s and vitamin D go well together. There's a lot of nutrients in your foods that are the same thing, iron and vitamin C. So having good meal structure, having a balance of, I like to call it the Fit Body 5, protein, produce, complex carbs, fat, and flavor, that usually is going to give you a good balance of things. Hormone fluctuations are a big one. Women think that they have digestive issues when they really have hormone-related issues that are impacting their gut. Ovulation, menstruation, their entire luteal phase can wreak havoc on your gut, and not knowing how to support it during that phase is why you're constantly staying stuck, or maybe you only have 1 or 2 weeks out of the month where you actually feel like your gut is okay. Dietary fats or lack of dietary carbohydrates are a big one that impact the gut. You want to make sure you're getting enough fiber and enough of the enzymes from fats to help your body break down certain foods, along with having just inconsistent eating patterns. Believe it or not, eating too frequently and not giving your body a chance to reset. Your body needs about 3 hours to completely clean itself out. That's called the MMC. You want to make sure you are actually normalizing eating patterns. So grazing throughout the day or skipping meals for long periods of time can both negatively impact your gut. Okay. So it's really important for you guys to realize that you think that your gut is reacting to food when your body is actually just reacting to the environment you've created. So we want to fix the environment, not take away the foods. You might need to remove the foods temporarily in order to get your body feeling a little bit better, but the goal is to actually fix the environment so that your body can eat those foods again. And that's why elimination diets aren't really solving the problem. This is really, really big for those of you guys that want to actually be able to enjoy food, and maybe you feel like you don't want to have to keep restricting yourself. You don't want to keep removing foods. Maybe you're somebody that's a little scared of the ingredients on the label. Maybe you're having to take probiotics every day, or maybe your digestive enzymes every day. Maybe you're having to focus on eating really clean because you're so afraid of eating anything that's processed. These are all things that can, temporarily be helpful when you're like removing things like dairy, gluten, sugar, alcohol, but your body still isn't going to respond any better. Like maybe you feel temporarily better but it only lasts for a few weeks. Then you're back to feeling inflamed again. And honestly, you hate your life. You still want to be able to eat those foods. So at some point, we just have to ask, is the problem really the blueberry? Is it really the food? Or is it that your system is just overwhelmed? And that's really where I want you guys to understand there is a lot more to your gut than just what you're eating. It's all of the things. There is a huge connection between your gut, your brain, your hormones, and also your body composition. Okay. So it's really important that you guys understand that poor digestion is going to impact everything. So here are some things that you guys can look out for. Okay. You want to be having regular hunger and fullness cues. You want to understand how your body is experiencing inflammation. You might notice more water retention, specifically in your gut. You need to actually understand how poor digestion can actually impact your energy output and also your energy absorbed or your calories absorbed. You need to understand how poor digestion is impacting your recovery and your performance. Nobody wants to feel sluggish in their gut when they're going into a hard workout. Okay. A sluggish gut can also impact your sleep quality. It also impacts the way your body can handle stress. When your gut is under stress, your brain is under stress, and then everything feels amplified. Not to mention, having your gut dysregulated often usually does impact your consistency with your nutrition and your training because it impacts how you feel about doing those things. Nobody wants to eat clean foods especially when they're triggering their gut, right? So it's really important for you guys to realize that poor digestion is going to impact everything, right? So if you are somebody who is feeling bloated, inflamed, exhausted, under-recovered, and stressed, usually you're going to also struggle with body composition. And it's not because you're being lazy. It's not because you're lacking discipline. It's truly because you're not understanding how your body is responding to stress. Okay. So here's what I want you guys to focus on. And again, if you guys have specific gut stuff going on, I want you to feel comfortable reaching out to me, and I can send you over my complete client. We Zoom every single week at 4 p.m., but I can send you guys over the replay of my last client Zoom, where I kind of broke down a lot of the different gut symptoms, a lot of the different protocols, a lot of the different things that I might use if I was experiencing specific things, like maybe it was abdominal distension or bloating, maybe it was constipation, maybe it was diarrhea, maybe it was stuff around your cycle. I kind of broke down each of those. But what I want you guys to understand is just some basics here today, the basics that are going to really make it easy for you guys to apply in your life. Number one is eating enough consistently. Okay. Now we're not just yo-yoing calories, eating a little bit higher calorie on Saturday and Sunday, only to underfeed yourself throughout the week, or skipping meals all day, only eat a large meal at night. We want to make sure that you're actually eating throughout the day. And that might look different for everybody. Your meals might have to be smaller because maybe you're a busier individual, but we want to make sure that there is some consistency. You want to make sure that you are slowing down while you're eating, actually being mindful, actually allowing yourself to settle and digest the food. You're actually chewing the food. Did you know that digestion actually starts in the mouth? So you want to make sure that you are actually taking the time to digest things, balancing your meals, not being afraid or avoiding certain food groups, having enough fiber. Another big one is hydration, but a little hack with this. You don't want to be overhydrating while you're eating. A lot of people tend to drink and eat together. You should actually be drinking between your meals, not with them. That's going to help your body actually absorb those nutrients a little bit better and digest things a little bit better. Getting enough dietary fats and carbohydrates. Stress management. I know these are all like the basic things, but if you guys are experiencing gut symptoms and you're a high stress individual, that is likely the biggest trigger for your gut. Okay. Sleep quality and also sleep hygiene. So we're not just like hopping into bed after we were like on a phone call with work and then wondering why we're like actually not feeling recovered in the morning, because likely you're not getting into deep sleep patterns. So you do want to have a nice wind down routine to allow your body to reset. And then also making sure that you're tracking patterns around stress and your period or your hormones to kind of see how your body does react to change to those things. A lot of times it might not be that's where we can actually sometimes treat the symptoms a little bit. And maybe you are eating a little bit more gentler foods during those periods of time to keep your gut motility moving well, supporting your gut, not permanently, but just working with it and understanding how to do that. Really, the main thing is you want to understand what your normal digestion should look like. You should be pooping in the morning at least once a day. You should be having, feeling, you should get full, but you should never feel bloated. I think that also women are like, oh, it's normal to feel bloated. Like, no, it's not normal to feel bloated all the time. I don't care what phase you're in. And yes, you're going to have a little bit of bloating around your period, but that should pass. Okay. So healthy digestion is really important for you guys to be looking at if you truly are looking to improve your health, metabolism, hormones, and your body composition. So all of this, I really want you guys to understand that I know that so many of you guys out there are struggling so much to get your body to respond, but your gut, the symptoms you're getting from your gut are a huge indicator that something is not right. Your gut symptoms are not just something to be ignored. You do want to pay attention to them. It's not something that you should just have to tolerate. You should be able to feel good, and your nutrition should support that. And it's also important to realize that you should not separate your gut symptoms from things like your hormones, metabolism, body composition, and even, I'm going to be honest, things like I mentioned, structural issues, like if you have a lot of back pain, hip pain, those are all signs that maybe there's something off with your gut, or those things can be impacting your gut. It's important to realize that that could also impact your training. Your body is communicating with you. So you don't want to keep just ignoring it. When you ignore it for too long, usually it's when you miss out on the opportunity to catch something before it becomes catastrophic. And I'm going back to my own story right now. I had no real symptoms aside from the week leading up to where I was. I did have some digestive issues. I felt a little bit sluggish. I assumed it was just hormones and I didn't think anything of it. But by Sunday, I was in the hospital. So if you are somebody who wants to learn a little bit more about gut health, or you're struggling with some gut issues and you want my replay, or you just want to chit chat with me a little bit about your symptoms, you can shoot me a DM. If you just say, hey, I'm looking for info on the gut stuff, I will send you over the replay. You don't have to keep anything super formal. But I'm going to keep this episode kind of short because, like I said, guys, I'm not feeling great, just being honest. And I'm trying to save my energy as much as I can. So if you need me, you know where to find me. I'll talk to y'all soon.